3 days before Christmas, Friday, December 22nd, 2017.
Paul, Okay, Vato, listen. I stopped by your place to feed and walk Lady, and there were cops over there asking about you. I told them you're out of town, but didn't tell them I know where you are, just that I'm looking after your dog until you get back. You are coming back, right? Okay, not funny. I know. I just hope everything's all right. They didn't tell me what it was about, but they did say if I got a hold of you, I should encourage you to contact the sheriff's department. Look, Vato, if you tell me what's going on, I can help you. I'm just saying, I've got a lot of relatives in TJ.
I've listened to Chewy's message 3 times and already squeezed all the juice I can from it, so I delete the voicemail to be sure Amaya won't stumble upon it. This is a habit I've been perfecting over the last couple of days. Not only have I been erasing anything related to my false accusation and termination, I've been excising my text conversations with Gail in almost real time. As to my situation with work, I still haven't told anyone, and I'm not sure I will. By this stage, I realize I should have a plan, but so far I'm not happy with any of the solutions coming to mind. In my quiet moments, when I have enough time to listen to the dark whispers, I think about my life insurance policy. It should handily cover my burial and the money they think I stole, and maybe there'd be enough left over to give my family a good head start in creating a better life without me. How would I do it? I couldn't do it like a feat. Not because I'm a coward, but because I don't think they'd pay out the policy if I did. It would have to look like an accident. I know my anger wants to take Stacy with me on my trip to hell, but I can't hold that hatred in my heart for long. Besides, I'd never want to leave that legacy to my children. Still, the idea of falling asleep and forgetting my woes has growing appeal. "But it's Christmas," says Amaya, "and it's your Aunt Jen's wedding." She's been chasing Noah around my mother's house and trying to get him to try on the little suit he's meant to wear for the ceremony. "You have to look nice for the pictures." "The pants are scratchy. Why do I have to put it on now?" She catches our 7-year-old son's arm with the skill of a practiced mother and pulls him to her. "Because we have to make sure it fits you, that's why." She sees me enter the room and tilts her head toward me. "A little help?" she says. I do my best to snap into character without overselling my role. It's been increasingly difficult for me lately because everyone else's problems seem so trivial compared to my own. My mood is like a pendulum these days. I'm either blowing my top or lapsing into lethargy. Over the past decade of being a parent, I've developed a few shortcuts and tricks, but lately they've been more like gateways to bad habits. Glaring down at my boy with what I've been told is my 1,000-yard stare, I say, "If I acted like that when I was your age, I'd be peeling myself off the floor." Noah laughs at that. I've never hit the boy in anger. I don't think I learned a whole lot from the beatings I got as a kid, and my wife and I have an agreement to only resort to spankings when nothing else works. I can't say I've always been perfect when I've had too much to drink, but I'm sober. He knows my threat is idle. "Yeah, right, like Grandma would ever do that to you." I don't like that very much, so I get down to his level. When I meet him eye to eye, I get in so close my whisper sounds like a scream. And I say, "It's not Grandma you have to be worried about." Struggling against his mother, Noah pulls away. I see legitimate fear in his eyes as he takes one last look and runs. Amaya sighs, handing me the hanger, holding Noah's suit. "You didn't have to scare him like that. It's important he does what we say." She shakes her head at me, taking the outfit back. "And you did an excellent job of getting him to do it, didn't you?" To her back, I say, "Look, if you want me to spank him, just say so." Without looking at me, Amaya flips me the bird and goes after Noah. I don't know how much of this my mother's played witness to, but it seems like enough. She comes in to check on the cocoa, smacks her lips at me, and says, "Scare tactics never really worked with you boys. With Jen, sure, until she was a teenager. But with you and your brother, I had to let you find your own way." She pulls mugs from the cupboard and pours a serving for each of us. "You usually did the right thing on your own." She points at the refrigerator behind me. "Cream?" "No, thanks." "I'm not asking if you want some. I'm telling you to get it for me." "Oh." I open the fridge and find the canister of whipped cream, handing it to her. "I don't want him to make the same mistakes I did," I say, opening the pantry for marshmallows. My mother spins the spice rack, slipping out the nutmeg, adding a dash to 2 of the 4 mugs. She puts a peppermint stick into all but 1, and adds marshmallows and cream to varying degrees in each. When she's done, she hands me mine, and it's just how I like it. I put down the mug, annoyed by her offering of advice. It's like she thinks she can make up for all the mistakes she made as my mother by pretending to be the perfect grandmother to my son. Does she honestly think I don't remember the shit she put us through when we were kids? She was always forcing us into the middle of her battles with our father, and while he got a one-way ticket out of Crazy Town, we were stuck dealing with her crippling depression and anxiety. If she was giving me real parenting advice based on how she actually raised us, it would be this: guilt is good, and if you apply enough of it, you can use it to control your kids during their childhood and manipulate them well into adulthood by helping them to develop debilitating complexes. She calls out for the others and then gives me a long look from over her mug. "He'll make his own mistakes, and you've got to let him. He's his own little man." Noah comes in and models his suit for his grandmother. Clapping her hands together, my mother says, "Oh my goodness, don't you look handsome?" Cringing from the compliment, Noah takes his hot chocolate and blows on it. "What do you say?" Amaya asks. "Thank you." "You're welcome." I hand my wife the last mug and lean into her. "How'd you get him in the monkey suit?" "I told him if he did, we'd go to the mall and he can get his picture taken with Santa Claus." I pick up my cocoa and take a sip. "I see." My mother tells Noah, "Be careful not to get any chocolate on that fancy suit of yours." I could see the worst-case scenarios running behind both women's eyes, and I count the moments before one of them takes the drink from the boy to spare us the dry-cleaning bill. It's an exciting game of chicken, but ultimately my mother is the one to do it. "Why don't we hold off on the cocoa until we get back from seeing Santa?" she asks, saving my wife the awkwardness of taking something away that Grandma gave him. "Can we go right now?" Noah asks, his face alight. I resent my wife's insistence we keep up the charade. It's obvious encouraging Noah's penchant for make-believe is hurting the boy. Life isn't a fairy tale, and the sooner we rip off that Band-Aid, the less it will hurt down the road. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. I maintained the existence of Santa Claus until I was almost 12, but I hadn't clung to him because I believed in myths. I did it because I wanted the comfortable feeling I got when I put faith in all kinds of supernatural bullshit. Begrudgingly, I do know my mother's right. Noah is his own man. But in his burning earnestness that magic exists in the world, he's exactly like I was before I woke the fuck up. Not wanting to start yet another fight and have the ball and chain call me a Grinch, I sip my cocoa and let Noah be a naive little kid for just a little longer. "Well," my mother says, "are we ready?" Noah tugs on Amaya's sleeve and asks, "Is Daddy coming?" She searches me with her eyes, and even though I know my reluctance doesn't play on my face, I can tell she sees through my facade. Amaya's always had the superpower to see right through me, and I know it's only a matter of time before she knows everything. How much longer can I go on lying about my job, about the warrant for my arrest, about the flirtatious text with Gail? "I've got to make a few phone calls," I say. And the little brat actually says, "Good." He says it like my tagging along would just ruin his whole day. You'd think he was the one being kept from drinking and suffering from withdrawal. Right away, I'm pissed off. A million responses enter my mind. I could tell him Santa isn't real. The guy at the mall is just some crusty retiree who spends his spare time yelling at children using his yard as a shortcut. No matter what he's got on his list this year, he's out of luck because Daddy got fired from yet another job. Daddy might be spending the new year in jail. And worst of all, if he takes a good hard look at my weathered face, he'll be getting a peek at his own miserable future. Sensing my rising temperature, Amaya kneels in front of Noah and takes his hands into her own. Your father is trying his best, she says. He's mean, and he never wants to play with me. Amaya checks me out in a peripheral and tells Noah, you don't know what he's lived through, what he's had to endure. The boy growls, I don't care. You always take his side. My wife swiftly slaps him on the rear end. Hard. She does so out of anger, and I can't explain just how sick it makes me feel. I don't let it show, but she sees. Noah bursts into tears and turns to his last ally in the room, his grandmother in her wide arms of comfort. She groans, ignoring her tender back as she lifts and cradles him, the same way she used to do for us when we were little and skinned our knees. Realizing what she's done, my wife recoils her hand and draws it to her mouth. She stands beside my mother, her eyes low. You need to be nice to your father, Noah. You only have the one. Taking a parting glance in my direction, she turns away and pulls on her coat. Come on, she says. Let's go. My mother gives me a soft look filled with meaning. It's as though she's saying, this too shall pass. But I'm embarrassed she's lain witness to the joyless wasteland I've once again wrought. Once they've left, I put the whipped cream away and make a mental note. I need to go to the store and pick up some beer. My mother keeps a dry house, and I'm losing my mind. I try to watch some TV, but I'm too wrung out to distract myself. Restless, I get up from the couch and put my jacket on. Heading outside, I cross the yard and push my way into the barn. I don't know what compels me to come out here, and I'm startled when I find what my mother has been keeping. The sight of it hits me like an electric jolt. It's both exhilarating and awful all at once. With the cold wind howling behind me, and this chilling revelation in front of me, with a covert message from Gail buzzing in my pocket, and with the sinking sensation that my marriage is crumbling, and the relationship I have with my son is only causing him harm, my mind wanders once again into the insidious shadows. If I were to end it all, this would be the perfect place to do it.